Okay, so just checked out a new psychological thriller. This is from Sebastian Godwin, who wrote and directed the piece, and it all came about through it was like a commission, right, from a company called Microwave. So it's producing films for like funded by the BFI. So yeah, that's not bad for your first film, being able to get in on something like that, right? So yeah, he wrote and he directed. It is produced by Hugo Goodwin, maybe a brother, you know. I mean, shoot, a cousin maybe. I don't know. Right? It's executive produced by Andy Brunskill, Mike Chapman, Emma Dunton, Rebecca Jorin Sharp, Nathan Kendall, Eon O'Filion, Declan Reddington, and Ian Sharp, with Emma Parsons co-producing. Music is handled by Jeremy Walmsley. Cinematography was Sergei Valanova Claudine. It is edited by Rachel Durrance. Casting was Jesse Frost. Production design Zoe Payne. Um, Gabriela Yayas handled costume design, makeup, and all of that stuff was handled by Alice Jones and Rebecca Krang. Um, yeah, they're the main people on it. Now, starring, so we have Holly, who's played by Ashling Loftus, and Richard, played by Tom Goodman-Hill. Now, Richard's kids, we have Anna, played by Raffaella Chapman. She's the youngster. Then you have got Lucia, played by Hattie Gottabed, and Rafe, played by Lucas Rolfe. So yeah, that's our cast, people. Now the gist of the film is this. It follows Holly, a young woman who travels with her new fiance. I mean, it's a situation. They travel to meet his estranged family, only to find his ex-wife is missing and the children behaving in a strange way. So yeah. Now, so we open up, right? And you definitely get the feel, right? Because it's Holly's first time meeting the kids, right? And his ex. So you understand that. I mean, she's worried, right? She's a little worried. And when you meet the extended family, that is definitely a thing, right? It's like, oh, they like me, like, was a firm. Now, when you then if you consider the situation these two are in, I mean, it is one of those things where it's just like, I mean, he should be riding for her, right? I mean, it is meeting the kids, but I think that does bring up questions, right? It does bring up questions, which is, I think, one of the things with this film, right? There are a lot of questions here. So they arrive at the house, Anna comes out to meet them, and very evasive with certain questions, right? So, we're watching all of this kind of play out. Holly, there's a lot of trepidation. Richard seems to be really overcompensating, like, my children, hello, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Just going a little OTT, you know? So we get all of this, but there is this sense of foreboding, this uncomfortableness lingering there, right? So that makes it very intriguing, very interesting. Like this, I mean, you see the house is motherfucking big, right? It is a huge ass house. So you are a bit like, yo, what's the deal here? Like, what's happening? It's like most people ain't having a house that big. You know what I mean? So there are just all of these questions, so many questions. I thought like this was it's an interesting film, and for his debut, Sebastian doesn't do a bad job. Now I will say, because there is, they're trying to build a lot of tension and everything like that, right, to lead you to this moment at the very end of the film. A problem I kind of thought was the fact that they try to force the tension, right? Because we get like foreboding music, and it's a bit like, man, like it's too much, right? You're really feeding this to us, where, because I think the choice of shots was decent, so I think that's enough, right? Play with the shots. You don't need the music, because I think it's one of those things, especially that it's like, what's going on, right? That's the kind of thing you're trying to build. What's going on? Is there something suspicious? Is there not? What's the thing here? So by playing the ominous music, it's going, yeah, something's fishy right here, right here, right here. And it's just like, it shouldn't be so on the nose. There should always be this sense of doubt, right? It's just like, oh man, is it just the kids ain't feeling Holly? Are they pissed off with Rick? Like, we shouldn't know. You know what I mean? There should just be this, I'm not quite sure. It could go either way, but then that makes it right really like, yo. And so, certain moments are gonna pop more when you're not quite sure, you know. Now the acting was very good, acting was very solid, but the kids were really good, because kids, sometimes it's hard to really deliver certain emotions and things like that, which you can understand because they're kids. They ain't always gone through that shit. So it's just like, yo, give us this. And be like, yo, what is that? You know what I mean? I've never had my heart broken yet. Like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? So yeah, I just thought the kids were very solid, right? And there's three of them. So usually in that kind of situation, you get one, maybe two that is killing it, and the other one might not be as good. But yeah, no, these kids were very good. There is though, I did find some confusion here, because we see certain events happen, and then there's certain other things that go down, which then make you go, okay, if that's the thing, then why was that earlier? Because essentially that wouldn't be a concern, right? That wouldn't be a thing. So why was that? There's some stuff like that, which, yeah, it makes it confusing, you know? Like, and then there's all these questions, like, how is this the first time Holly is meeting the kids? You know what I mean? Because that makes no sense, right? You kind of scratch your head and be like, wait, but why? Surely in these circumstances, it would have been sooner, right? So yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that don't quite add up, you know. But I will say, right, for the first film, it is a decent stab. You know what I mean? I think that yeah, Sebastian definitely shows some promise here. Definitely, I would say shows promise. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. It's not a crazy film, right? It's just 71 minutes, which I think is good, right? It's good, though there's certain things that could have been fleshed out a little bit more, but I think there's other things that could have been cut. So the film time isn't really the issue. It's just the story at times feels very fragmented, and like you're playing catch up on stuff that you're thinking, well, that must have happened, but when, how, huh? You know, there is that. But Homebound, it's currently out in the cinema, and yeah, it's also just being released on your favorite VOD platforms, people. So if you are a fan of the psychological thriller, right, and you enjoy these actors and actresses, because we've seen them about, man. They've been putting in work over the years, right? So yeah, if you enjoy the talent and you're curious about the story, well, you've got two options: go to the cinema or watch it from the comfort of your own home. But you can do either, people, right? And check out a little Homebound.